And there's those that think it's funny to talk about my eyes and attribute it to smoking marijuana. This is how they read the news on the Copperbelt. 2 senior government officials in Eastern Province. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You guys have never been to Kitwe. Hello, my name is Jonah. Welcome to Zambia. What a day. We bring you this podcast Monday to Friday, taking a look at some of the biggest news stories in Zambia during the week. We know some of you don't exactly love watching the news, so we bring it to you in a bit of a witty style, and also adding some commentary to it, adding context to some of these stories, and it's one of the funnest things that I love to do. So, let's rumble. What's coming up? On the podcast today, we are going to be taking a look at a very... oh my gosh. It's a very interesting story from Eastern Province. Interesting because how on earth does this happen? 600,000 kwacha worth of salaries without working since 2021 for 2 civil servants. And this is only coming to light now. And we'll give you the details in this story. But we also, obviously, are going to talk about the death of former First Lady Dr. Maureen Mwanawasa, who died on Tuesday. And we'll give you the details into this. I think that it's more of a reflection and a bit of details into her life. But we also talk about mill. Maybe we should be expecting more of such stories. Shortage of mill. There's that coming up. The energy crisis. We will always talk about the energy crisis. We'll never get tired of talking about the energy crisis. Former First Lady Esther Lungu is also in the news because the Drug Enforcement Commission were at their residence, but also she was in court yesterday. And then we're back at child labor in mining. Is that what we're doing? Let's start. A revelation has emerged from the Eastern Province administration, where 2 senior government officials have been drawing full salaries without reporting for work in the past 30 months. Roy Tembo, Assistant Secretary, and Teddy Musonda, Head of Procurement Department, were suspended in 2021. We remember that incident from Chipata, pending investigations into allegations of fraud. Despite their suspension, they have continued to receive their full salaries, totaling 600,000 kwacha from government coffers. Investigations by Diamond News have uncovered that the Anti-Corruption Commission wrote to the Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Potole in 2023, recommending the retention of the 2 officials until Zambia Public Procurement Authority, ZPPA, conduct a thorough audit. Our journalist, Samuel Kwabe, has been following this story. And before we talk about it, let's take a look at the details of it, and then we'll add some context to it.
In 2021, Eastern Province Administration took action against officials suspected of fraud in the procurement department related to the construction of low-cost houses in Lukusuzi National Park. The entire procurement department, headed by Teddy Musonda and Assistant Secretary Roy Tembo, were suspended to pave way for investigations.
I want to confirm that we have suspended the procurement team, headed by the head of procurement and the assistant secretary, who presided over the procurement process.
3 years later, an investigation by Diamond TV reveals that Roy Tembo and Teddy Musonda have been receiving full salaries totaling to over 600,000 kwacha in 30 months without reporting for work, despite the recommendation to retain them. According to a letter addressed to Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Potole seen by Diamond TV, the Anti-Corruption Commission (SEC) recommended retaining the 2 senior officials until a thorough audit is conducted. However, no action has been taken. When reached for a comment, Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Potole declined to comment, citing ongoing investigations. Civil society organizations have expressed concerns over the matter, questioning the effectiveness of government systems and the unnecessary expenditure on officers not delivering services.
And then these officers, they are receiving full salaries. This is unacceptable. This is also, daylight robbery to the public resources. So what we are saying is that when we are talking about prudent use of public resources, we are talking in terms of sealing all areas where government must not spend unnecessarily. And this expenditure of paying someone a full salary who is not providing any service, it's actually spending money unnecessarily. And we want these things to stop.
We don't want to start raising placards to demand for fair and justice to the officers. I think there is need that the permanent secretary acts wisely, professionally, and also realize that workers have the rights to work.
Watch out for Diamond TV detailed documentary on this case. Samuel Sylvester Kwawe, Diamond News, Eastern Zambia.
So first of all, I would say, and this is my personal opinion, if I'm suspended, I will get a salary because I've not been fired from the institution. Now, it says a lot about the inefficiency. I always say this. The cost of inefficiency is very high. The cost of inefficiency and the cost of incompetence is very high. If people are suspended for 30 months, what on earth is that? Like, what on earth is that even? People suspended for 30 months? And then what is crazy about the whole thing is that there was a recommendation from the ACC saying that these people must come back to work until there is an audit that is completed by the ZPPA, a thorough audit. The ACC makes a recommendation that these people must come to work. And in whose interest is it that they keep drawing salaries without doing any work? Because if they come and work, they're going to be working for the money. And that's why I'm saying the cost of inefficiency, the cost of incompetence is very high. The fact that we've gone 30 months without investigating these people, without doing a thorough audit, without these people knowing their fate, is just unbelievable. But on a very sad note, I would say one of Zambia's very well-known first ladies, because she was married to a very popular president. For a lot of people, President Levi Patrick Mwanawasa is revered, and a lot of people, not everybody, a lot of people hold the opinion that, he was a great Zambian president. Some people think that he was the best Zambian president. I said some people think that he was the best Zambian president, but she died on Tuesday. Let's take a look at this, because the family, her family, have described her untimely death as pretty shocking. Stanley Kakobo, who is the family representative, says the family is saddened and shaken by her death because it was from a short illness. Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, says she will miss Dr. Mwanawasa, who she says was a close friend. She died on Tuesday at the age of 61, and President Hakainde Hichilema has also sent his condolences to the bereaved family, alongside a lot of people, a lot of Zambians who have been saddened by this. But on another note, let's go to Ndola, where over 20,000 residents in Kaniki area have been left without a reliable supply of millimil. And that's the staple food for Zambia. And this is because of the restrictions that were imposed by the authorities to combat smuggling activities into neighboring DRC. The scarcity has sparked widespread frustration among the affected population and drawn sharp criticism from local officials. The Copperbelt province, particularly areas like Kaniki, and this is near the Sakanya border, there's been a surge of smuggling in the area. And this is a concern for government. So the Zambian government deployed officers from the Zambian National Service to strategic locations, and this is in an effort to curb the illegal trade. And there's details in this story by my colleague Lavmo Sondashi. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll talk about it when we come back.
A severe millimil shortage has hit Kaniki in Ndola, leaving residents struggling to access the stable food. 2 trucks carrying millimil were turned back due to concerns about smuggling, worsening the already dire situation.
There are about 20,000 20,000 that are being deprived of the right to food, which is really unacceptable in Zambia, because these people have been considered as if they are Congolese or from another country.
The nature of our work,
Yes.
we also work under directives. So the way we are, like here in Sakani, the best you would have done, you would have gone to the regional office. We have the regional commander. Maybe if you had requested.
For months, the Zambian National Service has been responsible for delivering mealie meal to Kaniki and other border areas, but their deliveries have been inconsistent and insufficient. The last delivery of only 500 bags for over 20,000 people was awfully inadequate.
Only institution that we're having problems with is ZNS, nothing else. And if you go to Mesundu there, you see what is happening. People are passing with minimum, like I don't know. They're paying Yama 20 kwacha. There's heavy corruption there. But people who want to buy food genuinely, they're starving in their own country.
Meanwhile, UPND Kaniki Wanda chairperson Siakalima John says the people of Kaniki have been restricted to tough conditions.
Going to town, you buy mealie meal, you come here, you need again to register. How do we register? Are we in Congo or we are in Zambia? If we are also counted in Zambia, why can't we, the situation, have the same with those people in our nearby places like Kawama?
And a local businessman who has been given a go-ahead to sell the commodity in Kaniki Ward says the area has no maize and no mealie meal and is not allowed to sell the commodity.
Looking at what the people are going through that side, as we are saying, that a lot of people came as early as 7-8 hours. They have been sitting at our shop up to now, waiting to find if they can access any bag of mealie meal. But here we are, they have no food and we are stuck.
Love Mosandesh for Diamond News in Ndola.
So these measures, and this is what the concern is, as you could hear from there, that the measures that have been put in place have resulted in a complete halt of mealie meal supplies to this area because the ZNS officers have blocked the transportation of the commodity through checkpoints. And the district commissioner of the area is concerned and not happy over the situation because they're saying that the ZNS officers undermining the government's efforts to serve the people. It is very unfortunate. I mean, you can understand the position of the Zambia National Service and the government because Zambia is not the most food secure country at the moment. We experienced a very terrible drought. And because of this, there is not enough supply of maize on the market, of mealie meal on the market. It's a known fact, and it's been a known fact for a long time. So the government has to put in place measures that will safeguard the integrity of the country's food, the security of a country's food. And in doing that, unfortunately, this population of over 20,000 people are bearing the brunt because they don't have mealie meal now. Because ZNS is on high alert and they are unable to differentiate when the mealie meal is due for export, illegal export, and when it's going to the community. But, I think that they deserve to eat. It's a basic right. And government needs to take decisive action. I think that this is where we always say that leadership must exercise wisdom. There's a huge difference between knowledge. The knowledge is that there's a growing illegal exportation of maize and mealie meal from that area. But wisdom is realizing that there's also Zambian citizens who also must enjoy their right. And I think that this is not one of those rights that can be taken away in this instance. And they need to find a mechanism, which is a bit also... It's a bit more disorganized that the district commissioner is complaining that ZNS is working against upholding the lives of the people. Well, it's the same government. And they could sit at a table and find an amicable solution. And I guess it's good that this has come to the media now because we're talking about it in the public. And what we're doing is raising awareness for the people to realize that this is important. And these people need to be rescued. Literally, these people need to be rescued. Because imagine, and even the fact that we've experienced this over the last few months is crazy. It's insane. Because imagine not being able to buy mealie meal, even if you have the money. It's giving 1980. Another story that's giving 1980 is Zambia's energy crisis. Let's start off, first of all, by taking a look at what the president is saying. He's urging Zambians, including those that are outside the country, to invest in energy in the country, in the energy sector. And this is in order to stimulate economic growth and also create jobs, but also increase the country's productivity. I agree with the president when he says this. He says that there's a lot of potential in the country. There's a lot of opportunity in the energy sector in the country. And the president was at the official opening of the Energy Forum for Africa, which is at the Mulungushi International Conference Center in Lusaka, under the theme Investment Opportunities in the Energy Sector in Zambia and Africa. The president says that he's confident that the forum will provide a platform for solutions to the current energy crisis being faced by the country. And there's a lot of other people that spoke there. So let's take a look at the president's call, and then we'll delve a little bit into that.
The Energy Forum for Africa has brought together stakeholders in the energy sector to discuss and address the continent's energy challenges. The aim of the forum is to promote sustainable energy development, energy access, and energy security in Zambia and Africa. President Hakainde Hichilema has graced the forum in Lusaka, aimed at exploring investment opportunities the energy sector has in Zambia.
We want to bring Zambian citizens to invest in the energy sector. Instead of just wanting to be traders and tenderpreneurs, you find senior citizens, in this country, they are tendering for bond paper in ministries. Leave that for the youth. Leave that business of tendering for bond paper, A4 paper. Leave it to the youth, not you big people in this room. You must invest in the energy because the demand is there. Huh? We said, let's encourage Zambians to invest, including those in the diaspora. If they got together 10, 20 of them, we've now made it possible quickly for them to invest in 5 megawatts.
Meanwhile, Energy Minister Makozo Chikote is hopeful that the forum will provide solutions that will be implemented and called for the need to change the culture of doing work.
I can assure you that this gathering you see here will be in the position to provide solutions to the challenges energy sector is facing.
Some of the key topics at this forum will include renewable energy integration and development, energy infrastructure development, energy efficiency financing, among others.
We trust that in the next 5 years, we would have moved to cost-reflective tariffs with relevant policies and reforms implemented. We are not here to lament about the crisis. We are here to seek and provide solutions to the challenges that we face in the energy sector as a whole.
Stanbic Bank Zambia Chief Executive Mwindwa Siakalima has called for the need to focus on renewable energy and expanding existing structures.
And Stanbic is ready to partner with others in supporting the investment in the various opportunities in this important sector for the growth of our economy, which is the energy sector.
The Energy Forum for Africa aims at accelerating the transition to a sustainable energy future for Zambia and Africa. Peter Zunda Jr., Tama News.
So here's the thing. And, I like the fact that the president is spending more time talking about energy. But I think that it's also a demonstration of the country's inertia, what has happened over the last couple of years. Look, Zambia's energy problem is not unique to Zambia. Zambia's energy problem is not unique to Zambia in the context that we've seen this before. It's happened before. And it will keep happening if we don't put a stop to it. And the worst part about this is that it's got a direct impact on the economy. And that's the reason why Zambia's economy has got a vicious cycle of dwindling. Why do I say so? When we experience this energy crisis every 3 to 5 years, we experienced it in 2015. And it's only going to get worse if we don't find alternative sources because the demand for energy, for electricity, keeps getting higher. So let me get back to my thought. So look at this cycle. You have a drought. It hits the country badly. You have an energy crisis. And then what's going to happen? You will have water. You will have rainfall, heavy rain. You have water. electricity supply stabilizes. Electricity supply stabilizes, the economy starts growing because people are productive. The economy starts growing and, people are paying less for energy and all those things. The economy starts progressing. 3 to 5 years, guess what happens? Just when the economy is about to make its breakthrough and become stable, there's a drought. And this drought is because of El Nino. It happens 3 to 5 years. When it happens, we go back to having low energy supply. The country is unproductive. Energy becomes expensive. The economy starts struggling. And we have to go through that cycle, and then guess what's going to happen? Few seasons from now, we'll have a lot of rain and a lot of water. And the economy is going to start growing steadily because we will have enough electricity supply. But if we don't do anything about it now, we'll come back to 2024 again. We'll come back to 12 hours, 17 hours of load shedding in a day again. And I'm very happy that, we're trying at the moment to find alternative sources of energy. Look at what's happening in Mamba, if they increase the capacity there. But we also need to look at other sources of energy. And I'm hoping that government is actually doing that and not just saying that they're doing it. The Lungus are back in the news. They're always in the news. But let's start off from yesterday. Best Jerry was at the court and he was covering this story. Let's take a look at this.
Defense lawyers have asked the Lusaka Magistrate Court to cite a key witness on stand, Elizabeth Piri, for contempt and perjury in a matter former First Lady Esther Lungu is accused for motor vehicle theft. In this matter, Mrs. Lungu is jointly charged with James Piri, a police officer of Obama, Lichi Sulu, a police officer of New Chilenje, Catherine Banda, and Kapambwe Lungu for the offense of theft. Allegations are that between August 9th, 2021 and September 30th, 2022, the five allegedly stole a Mitsubishi Canter worth 320,000 kwacha belonging to Miss Piri. It is also alleged that the accused stole a Toyota Alex worth 110,000 kwacha belonging to Fuhana Patel, Miss Piri's daughter. Mrs. Lungu and others are also accused of stealing a certificate of title relating to a property in Livala worth 1,050,000 kwacha belonging to Miss Piri. The witness, a herbalist of Lusaka, who had previously testified under oath that she received only 4,000 kwacha from Catherine Banda, a niece of Mr. Lungu, has been confronted with an audio recording that appears to contradict her statements. When the matter came up before Magistrate Mbuywana Simvula for continued cross-examination, the defense played a recording in which the witness is heard acknowledging receipt of 2 million kwacha from Catherine. Despite initially denying any payment beyond 4,000 kwacha, the witness confirms in court that the voice in the recording was hers. However, she claims she cannot remember the conversation in detail. This discrepancy has led the defense, represented by Makebi Zulu and Mr. Zimba, to file an application for the witness to be cited for perjury and contempt of court. Mr. Zulu argues that the witness's conflicting statements under oath are grounds for immediate legal action, respectively. He emphasizes that the witness must be called upon to explain why she should not be punished for lying under oath. Mr. Zimba and other defense lawyers reinforces this position, stressing the importance of preserving the sanctity of the court and urging the court to act summarily against the witness for contempt. He referenced legal precedents to support the need for immediate action to maintain the court's authority. In response, the state argues that the witness has not yet been formally cited for contempt and maintains that they are within their rights to defend her. They contested the defense's interpretation of the legal provisions, insisting that the witness is not an accused person and therefore should not be treated as such. The court has directed that if the defense wishes to proceed with this application, they should file the perjury and contempt of court complaint against the witness by rendering a formal procedural application. This matter has been adjourned to September 16th, 2024 for mention and October 8th, 2024 for continuation of trial. Best Jury, Diamond News.
The reason why they are in court is because the former First Lady is accused of theft. And the theft has to be put in a context. The context is that she had money, an amount of money that she gave to somebody else to keep for her. When this money was given to this person used the money and bought property and all those things. And when the former First Lady demanded the money back after the 2021 election, this person basically refused to give her the money. And so the former First Lady says, okay, I'm going to grab the property that you bought using this money. And she gets some of that property. What does the person do? The person goes to the police and says, they've stolen my stuff. Because technically that stuff is hers because it's registered in her name. But, you could understand that there's money that I gave you and, you owe me that money. You need to give it back. So this is the dynamic that they find themselves in. Finally, a shameful story. This one, I call it a shameful story because this is 2024. And it's very third world of us to be talking about child labor because Luapula province has seen a surge in the use of minors for labor in mining areas, resulting in many children abandoning school. Nsama Kearns, who is executive director of Care for Nature, is condemning these practices, stating that they deny children their right to education and disrupt their normal development. Let's take a look at this story that was done by Kalombeka Pambwe. What is also striking about this is we only talk about it as child labor now because Care for Nature is bringing it up. But if you are on the internet a lot, you've probably seen a young boy from the Copperbelt. They call him a commander or captain or something like that. And effectively, he works in one of the mines at the Black Mountain. It's he's an illegal miner because he is underage and he's working there. And I find it ridiculous that we've normalized that. So it's not just in Luapula, because it's happening a lot on the Copperbelt. A lot of these young boys are deprived the opportunity to be normal children, And I understand the levels of poverty are incredibly high in the country. But that's the responsibility of parents. It's the parent must be at the mine and not the child, because the fortunes of these children is most unlikely to change if they go through this vicious cycle. Because one of the greatest equalizers, I know a lot of people make it out of life without education. I know that. A lot of people have. But a lot more people have. A lot more people have made it out in life because of education. It's regarded as one of the greatest equalizers. And we're not saying when these children get out of school, they must start looking for a job. If they're entrepreneurs, they gain a skill through education that helps them interact with the rest of the world. So we really need to have this open and honest conversation. And, child labor speaks a lot to a country's governance system, because the government needs to protect these children. The social protection system of the country and the integrity of the social protection system in the country is challenged when you have children going to work and the country normalizes it, where people see children going to work and nobody raises an eyebrow. They just say it is normal for these children to have this hard labor. And we can't have that. We shouldn't have that. We should do something about it. But a lot of things happening, and at this time, it's always something you have to do. Just sigh and just say, Zambia, what a day.